things that one of these theologians discussed the idea of, and sorry, I want to let you get back to your point, but he discussed the idea of the yoke of Christ being light and that there was joy in it. And there's a paradox there, obviously, because it's also a take up your cross and follow me sort of thing. But the fact that I've been living in constant pain makes the idea of joy seem cruel, I would say. And I have no idea how to reconcile myself to that. I mean, I've reconciled myself to that by staying alive, despite it. Although by staying alive despite it, but there's very little worship. And it doesn't mean I'm not appreciative of what I have. I'm not only am I appreciative of what I have, I do everything I can to remind myself of it all the time. And so does my wife. I mean, she's changed quite a bit as a consequence of her struggle with cancer, has become much more overtly religious, I would say. And, we say grace before our meal in the evening, and it's a very serious enterprise. And it always centers around gratitude, for the ridiculous volume of blessings that have been showered down upon us at a volume that's really quite incomprehensible. But despite that, despite that, I'm struggling with this because I don't know how to reconcile myself to the fact of constant pain.
Yeah.
And I feel that it's unjust, which is halfway to being resentful, which is not a good outcome.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a very quick response to that video that you just saw of Jordan Peterson. Obviously, it's extremely difficult to watch that video and not feel a great deal of sympathy for him. But as I was watching the video, I was reminded of the book of Job. If you're not familiar with the book of Job, it's a really amazing book. It starts off with a scene in heaven, and essentially Satan goes before God and accuses Job to God and says that Job only serves God because God has blessed him with great wealth and prosperity, that if God was to take that all away from Job, Job would curse God to his face. Well, God gave Satan power over Job's life, except that he couldn't kill him. So Satan could do whatever he wanted to Job, except kill him. That is a very frightening thought for us to imagine. Job lost everything as a result. Job lost his children, his wealth, his land. Even his own health was inflicted with severe suffering. He was unrecognizable. There were boils on his skin. He went through countless sleepless nights. His friends abandoned him. His family gave him horrendous advice. I mean, his friends told him that he is essentially the cause of his own suffering because there is secret sin in his life. He must be living a double life. He is a hypocrite. His wife said that he should just curse God and die. Job was a righteous man, we're told. We're told that he was blameless. So it wasn't his own fault for why he was suffering so greatly. In fact, the takeaway of the book of Job, why Job was suffering so great was actually God demonstrating to Satan the power and character of believers in the midst of suffering. The power of saving faith, that we serve God not because God blesses us, but because God has given us a new heart, and that will endure, that will persevere, even if everything is lost. We don't serve God as the word of faith people would say, to get wealth and health and prosperity. That's what Satan offers us. We serve God because we love him. and because we want a relationship with him. There are matters going on in heaven with God that we know nothing about, and yet they affect our lives. So even the best efforts at explaining our issues, our suffering, can be useless at times. We know that God's people do suffer tremendously. Bad things happen all the time to righteous people. So we cannot judge a brother or a sister in the faith who is going through suffering and say that they are receiving recompense from God, that they are reaping what they sow. Sometimes people suffer because there is sin in their life, but that is not always the case. And it certainly was not the case of Job. So if you are a believer who is going through suffering and trials of some sort of magnitude, why not read the book of Job? Why not be encouraged that God is with you in the midst of your suffering? And hold on to promises like Romans 8:28, that God works all things for your good. And if you have any questions, feel free to write in the comments below. Again, I don't know if Jordan Peterson is a Christian, but we should pray for him. We should pray that God would use his present suffering to draw him to himself and save him if he is in fact not a Christian. God bless you all.